All right, welcome to Razor Radio. Second week of April? That was Void Vader, right there. Void Vader with Great Fear Rising. Their record came out today on Ripple Music. Go get it. They're probably one of the best modern fucking style heavy metal bands in the world right now. That's just
I can't agree more, dude. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that whole album.
By the way,
heard it was coming out.
The great Bob Nalbandian joining us. No, that's cool. I agree. Hey, we get excited about metal. That's what we do around here, right?
Hey, how you guys doing, man? I appreciate you guys getting me back on.
Well, dude, I appreciate you finally releasing part 2. I've only been waiting like 4 or 5, 6 months for that.
Yeah, right.
He's been waiting years.
and then never mind. It was good. The party part, you talked about a lot of. I mean, I used to go to Bailoff's house all the time. You know, right. Hell House, and the stories in part 2 related to me more than part 1 was just the history. I knew all that. Right.
Oh, what do you mean? So what was part 2 then? The party? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it was. It was.
That was just one chapter, but of course that's Andy's favorite chapter.
Well, of course it is. Of course it is.
That was a good chapter.
So, but yeah, how you doing, Bob? What's new with
good,
you?
Man. Everything's good. I'm down in LA for about a week or so, just chilling. And we just got part 2 out on DVD. It's going to take a little bit longer for the streaming to come out, but it will be out on all the regular streaming services, the Amazon Prime. And this is the same ones we had part 1 on, the Amazon Prime, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Movies, I think Vudu and a few others. So, and we got them on a couple other digital networks coming on, but that should be out streaming, I believe, mid-May. So in about a month or so.
Okay. So the I'm assuming it actually went through. So that was what the delay was some
yeah, particularly Apple, they're very, very strict when it comes to QC issues.
Yep.
And if they catch something, apparently, I don't know if it was the same on part 1, but our editor insists that he basically did the final edit on both of them the same way. But apparently there are some tracks on part 2 that were in mono that needed to be fixed. And he was out in New York, so we had to track down the hard drive and his storage. And, Danny Shipman and I had to go out and get it and redo it. It was just it's a real pain, but we got it done. And it just, it's going to cause a bit of delay for the streaming, but that's fine. The DVD,
go get the DVD.
Was out. Yeah, pick up the DVD. The DVD is available on Amazon and anywhere DVDs are sold. Get them at a record store. There's
if you've got Prime, it comes here the same day. Well, for me anyway.
Oh, you got it on Prime?
Yeah, Tanner, show him.
Yeah, mine came already. So, but here is the artwork for it. For those of you who
haven't seen it. Oh, the DVD. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I ordered it on Prime. I get delivery the same day usually.
I got you. Okay.
Only Andy gets same day delivery from Prime, I guess. So,
no, I think everybody does.
No, dude, you're supposed to say I'm the only one.
That's right.
I don't know Bezos that much. Because I'd ask him for a loan.
So Bob, I'm kind of curious where you're at, now that it's all said and done, it's coming out, where are you at
in New York.
Oh, well, that's a possibility, but the whole COVID thing, it just really put I don't need to go into it because every artist and every person you've interviewed have said the same thing, but we're in the same boat, obviously, to do interviews and to travel out to New York. And our thing is if we're going to do it, I want to do it right. We have to go out there. We're not going to just do Skype interviews. Like, if this is going to be a proper documentary, we got to go travel out there and meet with the people. And a lot of people there, obviously on the East Coast is probably the worst in New York still. So, got to wait till things kind of settle down a bit and then decide. But, again, New York's going to be, it's not, Metal Rock, it's not a big budget company like other stuff. So it's,
and to quote Ian Christie, New York's not really that big of a metal town anyway. It's where disco came from.
No, but in the early days, we would do it in the same way we did the LA title and the San Francisco titles. Mm-hmm. We would start early from the 70s, so we'd go with Twisted Sister, maybe maybe bands like Stars and all these bands that start Kiss, even the
Overkill,
Overkill, then going into the thrash with Overkill and Anthrax, and even bands like Cities and that weren't as known, and
TNT
TT Quick, all that kind of stuff.
Jinx.
I mean, the New York, and it wouldn't just be
Tallis.
just New York. It would be Tallis. It would be New York, New Jersey, kind of like all East Coast, Boston. We would probably involve, but we might even start out as early as start from like Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult, and then move our way up. The Great Rats. I mean, a lot of different bands that were just kind of that were very influential, but never really made it off the ground.
You'd have to go into the hardcore scene too a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we would definitely touch on that. So it would go all into that. So that's I don't want to make any promises, but that is the obvious choice to do New York. So it is kind of in the works, and if so, I've already got a couple of New York people in mind that we would have. Because we got to make it as legit as possible and get the people that were there and that were a part of the scene. And I know a couple of people that have reached out to me. I'm so gracious. A lot of them had said, hey, you could stay at my place. I've got editing facilities too. I've got this and that. So, people have just been more than kind and more than helpful and supportive with this documentary series. So hopefully we can make it happen. We'll kind of see. But right now we just have to wait till things die out a little bit and get back to normal, so to speak.
Totally. Now, is there another topic, say like a band versus brand? Because I really loved that specific kind of documentary.
Thank you.
I've done. I've told you that in the past, but is there like another topic like that you would like to explore more of?
I would love to. In fact, I'm going to tell I've got a good relationship with Cleopatra. I just I worked with them with the new Chris Holmes documentary, which is a fantastic documentary. If you
I've seen it twice.
Had a chance to watch it. Antoine, great guy, great director. I I basically set him up with Cleopatra and got that going, and it's doing very well for them. So I would love to do something else with Cleopatra, something apart from Band vs. Brand was interesting for me because that was the first time I did something on like the business side.
I've rewatched that one several times.
Yeah, it's very educational. It was it's funny because I really the thing with Band vs. Brand is that's very timely because it's about the specific aspect of the music business with branding. I mean, branding's been going on for years, but when you interview people and you talk about, what kind of led to doing that was, the names and how, over the last few years, there were all the fights with names, like 2 different Rats, 2 different Great Whites, 2 different Queen Strikes, 2 different this, 2 different that. So that became something, of interest. But, doing interviews of that sort is kind of in a timely manner. And, I wanted to get it out pretty quick because I'm like, wow, this is a hot topic now. And I don't want other movies to come out with this. So I want
to grab your idea.
You're kind of rushed doing it. So, we could have got more interviews and some bigger names and this and that. But thankfully, we worked with Reality Check TV on that. And I, did like 2 sets of, interviews. I did some in the Bay Area. I did some in LA, or in Orange County down at NAMM. We did a bunch of them there. Did some in Vegas, like with Varney and a few other people out there, Frank Domino. And
I remember when he lived in Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, Varney. Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of people in Vegas now. Even Slagle's been in Vegas.
Yeah, I know. He moved. Yeah.
Yeah. But so going back to that, I wanted to get that done pretty quick, and thankfully, Reality Check TV, he said, Dan said, dude, we got a bunch of interviews where bands talk about branding. So we got Venom, we got Dictators, we got because Venom had the 2 different Venoms, Ross the Boss from the Dictators, and of course Manowar, and Fee Weebill from the Tubes, and they all related to the topic. So we kind of blended that in. I said, dude, we got to move. Actually, get it out, and it turned out really good. I'm really happy with it. It obviously could have, I could have taken more time and got it a little bit better. But we'll do some stuff. It's always weird doing it when you get a little paranoid when you do something like that. That's kind of be done in a timely manner. You're like, got to get this done. We whipped that out pretty quickly. Like the Inside Metal titles, they're be, all from the 70s, 80s, up until that. So we could release those really anytime, and they won't be in that sense. So, yeah.
Right. I was just curious if you had another topic in mind.
Like, you just brought something up.
Working on a couple.
That I think that Danny mentioned.
Yeah.
How about a Reality Check fucking documentary? I mean, they've only been doing it for like 25, 30 years.
I've been hooking, I've got Hugh and Warren from Metal Rock Films talking, and I said, we should put something together. The problem with Reality Checks doing something with them all the interviews are fine. It's just the footage we would have to use on licensed music because, again, it's a small budget video. You can't use licensed music. So when they have live footage of band, yeah. So that's why, everyone goes, dude, you didn't use Exodus. You should have put Exodus and Metallica. It's like, yeah, you want to pay the licensing fees? Sure, we'll add them in if you pay for it. But so, we did the close. We got, Ralph Vieira, right?
Of course. I know him.
Yeah, Thrash or Die is a thrash metal band, and they sound like old school Bay Area thrash, 80s thrash. So that worked perfect. He, generously, thank you, Ralph, and so many other bands, that were graciously contributed. Madras. So how can I forget Madras? So thanks to people like Tanner and Ralph that offered us to put the music in, for the credits and the exposure that worked out. But when you go to the stuff with Reality Check, there's so much live footage and
I know.
Yeah,
I've been watching it forever. But
yeah, it would be great. I mean, we're working on something. I'm trying to get that together for them and see if we could.
You just brought up a great segue, Bob.
Okay.
Licensing. We know all about that, especially here on that. But let's get into a track and we'll come back and talk more about the DVD. This is Y&T with Forever right now on
Razor Radio.
All right, that was Tyrant from their great album that came out last year called Warriors of Metal, and they're going to be joining us in about 3 weeks to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Old Farts coming back.
All right, is that Greg May coming back?
Greg hit me up a couple days ago. He said, it's been a year since we put the album out. I'm going to come back on. And I'm like,
I used to see them all the time. In fact, I did a big when I was doing the Headbanger fanzine, 81, 82. We had them play the Concert Factory. I think it was supposed to be. It was going to be a great bill. Slayer, Tyrant, and Savage Grace or
that's not a bad bill.
Yeah, and then Slayer had to. No, I maybe it was Abattoir. I don't remember, but we had a big bill. But I remember Slayer unfortunately had to cancel. But we had Tyrant. Were great, man. It's great. It's great to see.
They're so great. That new record they put out.
That album is great. He gave me it's been out about a year, right?
It came a year in May, late May.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great album. Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
And we got to see them play.
They were a promising Metal Blade band. I thought they were going to be. Them and Savage Grace had a real. I mean, as you guys remember, they had a big buzz. Or Andy might remember.
Savage
they were
Grace.
Playing, yeah.
I remember them coming up to play Ruthies.
Yeah.
I saw them play Ruthies, and they didn't really. I think that's where they didn't hold it up live for us at Ruthies.
Yeah, they had. I think their motto was "Thrash with class."
Exactly.
They always had problems with singers, and they had. Yeah, they
go at Ruthies in.
Right. So yeah, I could imagine.
Absolutely.
But Abattoir, man, I was just listening to Screams from the Grave today.
What a song, yeah.
I
that was when Juan Garcia was in the band.
I don't see how Steve Gaines ever hit those notes because the way he talks now.
That wasn't Steve Gaines.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. He's on the album. He's not on the demo.
On the album.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking of the Metal Massacre version. It's John Cyrus was on.
You're right.
The
demo.
That, and then the original. The original demo was. John Cyrus, I believe, was on the
guy that almost joined that Testament wanted for a little while.
No. That was the old, and that was Mike. That was Mike. What was his name? Mike
Torres.
Mike Torres, exactly. Yes. Mike Torres.
Heretic.
Look at the little kid.
Yeah, he did. He sang with Heretic. Look at Tanner. He knows
still
stuff.
Well, he knows Mike.
Yeah, but he was the one that Testament really wanted when they were Legacy. Yeah. And
well, the funny
he talks about that in the documentary. In fact.
I know it's Steve Gaines on the first record for sure because one of the guys used to do Metallic Thrash fanzine with me, my fanzine. First thing in the Abattoir review says Steve Gaines fucking sucks. They fucking slowed down all the songs from the demo. And I didn't know 25 years later I was going to become real good friends with Steve Gaines, but I've never showed him that issue.
Steve's a great dude. Yeah,
I love Steve.
When I interviewed Steve, I think they wanted Steve. I don't think they wanted Mike because when I interviewed Steve, I think he mentioned that. So
maybe
in the actual episode. So I just wanted some clarification. I think they wanted Steve
Oh.
Gaines.
I just don't see how he ever hit
Eric
notes like that.
Peterson about that, and that was the time when Mike was in the band, and he said the guy looked like a smaller Chuck Billy.
Yeah, that's
which Mike does. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that's why. Yeah.
Okay, you might be right. I just
It's so long ago. Who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. But the guy on the first demo, if anybody knows that, any of the listeners out there, the singer on the very first two-song Abattoir demo, it was Screams from the Grave and a second song, which wasn't quite as heavy. But
I'd have to go look at my old fanzine.
I had, it's funny, I have the old demo somewhere in my mom's closet somewhere. It had the first Slayer mix of, because I was going to Track Records with when Bill Matory was doing Show No Mercy. And it was a rough mix. And I have this.
You were in your dad's testicles.
Yes.
The guy's name was Raul Preston.
Oh, there you go. That's Raul. Yes.
I thought you said good. I wasn't alive yet when we were talking about Slayer being alive.
No, that's true. But that Abattoir demo is on the same as that Slayer rough mix of that. It's not really a rough mix. I compared it to the record. It's maybe a little bit different, but it was pretty much close to the final mix. But anyway, that's what made me think of that.
That's crazy.
So about the Bay Area Godfathers, part 2, the structure of it is like way different than, say the first part of this. And I know it focused more on, some of the bands or whatever. Now, how did you choose what was your thinking process on formulating all of this? Like, did you want Metallica first and then this and then this and then this when it came to certain bands from the Bay Area in part 2? Telling the
I think he nailed it.
After telling the story, right? And then he went by band by band by band.
Yeah, what we did is, and we did this, it was kind of the formula for all the Inside Metal titles because they're all 2 parts, 2-volume movies.
Yep.
The 3 Inside LA Metal titles. And it's basically shot as one 3-hour movie, cut in 2 parts. And the second part always has that, it's more like the debauchery and the parties. And then we go into the individual bands. And what sets that up is the interviews. We don't, because a lot of people go, well, why did you include, as a band,
there's always going to be somebody.
And why isn't Testament on there, have their own chapter or whatever? It's whatever the people talked about, and it didn't fit in with the other chapters. It wouldn't flow nicely with the other chapters, the quotes. So we had, and if a lot of people talk, about Y&T, which they did because they were such an influence, boom, we have our own
Y&T, Exodus, and Vane. You kind of almost nailed it as far as
well, Vane didn't even have their own. Vane didn't have their own chapter.
No, but Davey Vane's all over part 2.
He does, yeah. And we didn't plan that either. That's just the way it flowed with the credits. Because we had, it was so great. We had Jason Becker on, and I think he's only on one segment on part 2, and we had Marty, and I realized, Marty's not even in part 2. It was just because it didn't match. His quotes didn't match with the chapters. So. We try to even it out as best we could, but it's just kind of, it's really one continual movie.
Gotcha.
That wouldn't fit.
I think it's great.
Speaking
of that, Davey Vane mentioned Rebel Records and Cat.
Yeah. Well, that's where he started. Yeah.
That's where I started. That's
really? I didn't know that. Oh, you did mention that to me. Yes.
That's where Cat finally said, "Hey, Andy, you're always in here reading Metal Forces and just hanging out. Why don't you start your own fanzine?"
That's right. You did mention that.
And we started Metallic Trash out of Rebel Records in 83, I think, 84.
Now, how does she hook up with Christina Aguilera?
I do not.
She must have been like a little kid back then.
After I joined the Navy.
Okay.
No.
When I left to join the Navy, she was managing Vane and Death Angel.
Right. Okay.
Now, another question I have for you, Bob, is and I don't want Andy to answer this because I know he's going to chime in.
I'll turn the mic off.
But that's impossible. But what I was gonna ask you is that I've always heard stories from we have to mention her, Debbie Abano, from the Bay Area. Now I'm just curious for you. I know there wasn't a lot of mention of her in these particular documentaries, so can we pay some sort of tribute to her because she was a huge part in the Bay Area as well. And I'm just curious if you ever ran into her or if you ever, had stories, anything.
I did. She was a very sweet lady. I only met her once when I was at Roadrunner Records in the early 90s, and we had Heathen on the label, and I took a trip up. This must have been 91, a trip up to San Francisco and hung out with the Heathen guys, and we were at, what was that? You would know this, Andy, the rehearsal studio in Oakland right by the Omni.
Oh, Paradigm.
Paradigm, yeah. And we were there, and I guess she was working with Heathen at the time.
She's worked with every band.
With everyone. And she was there, and we hung out there, and I spoke with her, and really sweet and really knowledgeable. And she was just so great to the bands. And it's funny you mentioned that, because that's something, a lot of people say, we didn't, mention her. And, obviously there was a lot about Paul Bailoff because everyone talked about Paul. We don't really we just kind of let the artists kind of go off and where they talk,
sure.
Because that was something Craig Lecistro said. He goes, God, man, that was, he loved the documentary. He goes, well, you should have did something on Debbie. And I'm thinking,
well, yeah,
it was just never. Well, it's funny because when it comes to tributes and all that, we were, I remember talking to Carl Alvarez.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who was, Carl, he was my producer on the LA title. And he did a fantastic job helping me out, and he was great. And we were trying. He wanted to do a what do you call it? Not a memorandum, like a memorial. They call it
in memorandum, like
in memorial.
The Oscars, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically basically a memorial for. And we were going to list all the artists and everything. And then while we were doing the movie, especially on the first title, which was back in the 70s, people were dying during the filming, and people that were in these bands. I mean, we're and I told him, I go, dude, if we try listing people, because we were going to,
you're going to forget somebody.
You're going to forget, or somebody's going to die the next day. Why didn't you, have. And there was just so many people. I mean, you got, from the Dave Pritchards to the Robin Crosbys to the, I remember a Dave Brown from Sound Barrier passed during when we were filming that, and all these other people. And it's like, dude, this is, we're going to leave someone out. Is this going to, and it's a timely thing. Yeah. Willie Bay, he died right after Gina Zamparelli, so.
Oh, I forgot.
Again, that's why it's, again, when it comes to doing that, it's a timely thing. And if people have that, in their, they're good, then,
it's a can of worms.
Yeah, it is. And so, otherwise we would put something like that in mention, because we actually tried. It was something we thought about, but it's just, people are going to complain no matter what, but that's something that they're going to go, hey man, you
know what? I know you and having talked to Brian and Harold from Murder in the Front Row and all that, and because their movie ends with Cliff's death, many people were, weren't you getting more of the band? I mean, the thrash scene was still. They're talking about the original part,
Dude, you could never please everyone, and that's that's something I learned, and and that was something that Warren said too. I mean, because I remember when we were first starting, I got so. That's why we ended up doing these in two parts. And when we did the Pioneers, I just kept interviewing. I just kept hooking up with people. And we're going to Joe Floyd's studio interviewing, and like Warren's like, dude, enough interviews. I go, but we got to get so and so. We got to include. You go, look it,
because I'm going to get grief.
I was saying, people are going to bitch if we don't have this. You go, dude, people are going to bitch no matter what.
Totally.
Make it the best you can. Do what you can, and
get some duck feathers.
Every time, exactly. So I mean that's bound to happen. So I mean, obviously it would have been great to have. And I don't know if anyone really mentioned Debbie in the.
I don't think they did, but I know she was an important part of the whole scene. So I just wanted a story about herself.
She got a nice tribute in Murder in the Front Row, though.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
so,
that was
well, Andy, let's go into some tunes, man.
All right, why don't we play some Madras? Why don't we play some of you, Tanner?
Okay, cool.
Since I wanted to play this because you are playing with the band that opened the show, Void Vader,
nice.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
No, it'll be a week from tomorrow.
From tomorrow.
Stages in Santa Ana, California. Madras.
Void Vader and Madras. That's a show. I mean, if you
wow.
haven't seen any live shows out there, Raider Land, and you're in the SoCal, telling you, don't miss this one, man. It's
it'll be good.
Basically the record release for both bands. So
it's true. Well, let's do it, man.
All right, this is Madras with Dying Thoughts on
Razor Radio.
right, that was Vane right there with Secrets. And I had to throw some Vane in there because, like I said, watching part 2, well, Dave Vane's all over it. And a lot of people only think of Vane. He produced the first Death Angel fucking album. He was into some real heavy stuff. But you hear him singing, you're like, that guy's not into heavy stuff. But anyway, I made Kat cry. So she brought Kat up in the movie. And about 5-6 years ago, Vane played a reunion show at the Whiskey. One off. I was working at the Black House. I made it over there. And Kat actually showed up to see Vane that night. And I came up behind her with the beard face and all that. And I gave her a hug and just said, because of you, I am where I am. And she looked at me. She hadn't seen me in 25 years. She looked at me and goes, Andy Ford. And she started crying.
Wow. You have that effect on the ladies there, Andy.
Yeah, I make women cry.
Because he had no hair.
They swoon.
Like me.
I'm right there with you, Bob. But I got a new Motorhead hat, so I'm.
I got my beanie, but it's too warm in here, and I got this jacket on.
So,
Bob,
is there such thing as like Shockwave Skull Sessions merch that like can I get like a T-shirt or like
we're gonna make some probably because we've had a lot of people ask. The thing about it, I was talking about Matt about that, and it's like we just didn't think there'd be kind of a demand, but people have been asking about it, so we'll make like a limited edition with the logo. I think,
we're about ready to do our second run of shirts.
Wow, good for you guys, man.
We're gonna do the Stay Lit logo this time instead of the just a straight razor.
Absolutely, yeah.
But we had some real generous donators from a band called Madras that has really helped us out. So we might use that toward merchandise. So
so
thank you to the member of Madras that donated so graciously.
Speaking of Madras, they got their debut album coming out on vinyl in about a month.
Oh, on
vinyl.
The
pre-orders are going. The pre-orders are going on right now at No Life Till Metal Records, right, Tanner?
Yes, sir. NoLifeTillMetalRecords.com. Thanks, Andy.
And one more thing I got to shout out to is my friend Nalbandian over at Decibel Magazine.
Wow.
They just celebrated 200 fucking issues.
Wow.
I'm shocked that there's
the
not
magazine.
more.
200.
I'm shocked that because I thought that magazine had like thousands. It was like it's
it started in like 2002, I think 2003.
What?
I've got 182 of the 200.
Wow. Good for
that's
him.
why I wore my Decibel shirt so I could remember to say that.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought.
Congrats, Adrian. Everybody's worked on it, and here's the 200 more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought they've always been around for like 40 years for some reason.
No, they're not Circus or Hip Raider.
No, I thought they were from the 90s. No, or am I thinking, what's the other magazine that was kind of
Revolver?
Were they around
started in the 90s? They started the grunge movement. But Decibel covers the gambit of extreme music. I've always liked their cover.
More extreme, yeah.
And they talk about band. Everybody always try on their top 10 list. Always try to outdo each other. And there's a list of top 10 bands I've never heard of, and I'm like, how could that be?
Right now, Bob. So what do you have coming up as far as Shockwave Skull Sessions go? Can fill our listeners in on your schedule of it for one.
Yeah, you always get people for a round table.
Absolutely, and where people can find all of this stuff.
Well, I shouldn't give away too much, but we are gonna actually we were gonna do it yesterday. It's actually we're gonna set up for next Thursday. Which will probably be the next. We might do an archive episode, and then next one will probably be with David Ellefson and Drew Fortier. They just did a great new movie called Dwellers.
Yeah, the horror movie.
Yeah, very cool movie. That's actually going to come out. Believe it'll be out in September. They've been doing all the film festivals, and it's been getting a really great response. Really cool movie.
I have a copy of it, Tanner. If you want, Tom send me it. So.
Okay. So, we're going to do that. Of course, David's got a billion things going on, and he's always a great guest to talk to. And we're going to do another metal trivia show, a big one. I think Martin Popoff will be involved in this.
Martin's a good dude.
Yeah, so we're going to have to definitely think of some good questions for Martin. Yeah, but that's going to be a good one. And what else we got? We got a few other episodes.
Sure, but my point is there's a lot of variety in Shockwaves. It's not just like all new interviews. There's a lot of archive stuff. You're doing stuff with, hopefully some of that T Radio V stuff will come out, and
Yeah.
But where can people find all this?
Shockwaveskullsessions.com is the easiest one, and of course they could get it on the cmspn.com, which it all takes you to the same website. But those who remember Shockwaves Skull Sessions is probably the easiest. Shockwaves Skull Sessions plural.com.
Absolutely, and
Great show. We've both been on it.
Yes.
It's a great show because it's a great show, not because we've been on it. But Bob, so
Well,
that makes it a greater show.
Also,
It makes it a greater show.
Exactly. Good answer.
Also, there you go. Also, tell us where
Ooh, the Hanson brothers. Now I saw what that is.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they've
Hanson
been for a
brothers.
long time, and
Yeah,
they're wearing
that's-
Razor Radio shirts.
I want that
Greatest
on a
movie
t-shirt.
ever.
Dude. Yes,
Yes.
we might have to
They
have
brought their toys with them.
yes, we might have to have an episode just dedicated to that movie. But
Sure.
where, speaking of movies, where can people actually find and purchase the Bay Area Godfathers? Because I can't highly recommend it enough.
The DVD is best to go on Amazon.com.
Amazon.
That's where everyone shops, and it's an easy thing. Again, if the local record store has it, a lot of the independent record stores has it. There's the DVD there. It's you'll see it's gold on the top with the number 2. So it's number 2 because part 1 has a very similar title. There you go.
There you go. How about a
That's
comparison?
part 1 with the red, and part 2 obviously has a Roman number 2. So just so people know, so you don't order the same DVD twice. But yeah, that's the best place to go. Again, support your local record store if they got them. And anywhere, Walmart.com, BestBuy.com, they should all have it.
Absolutely.
Cool. How many does that make for Inside Metal now?
Well, if you count we did the 3 movies in LA. Then this is the 4th one, so it'd be 4. But if you count the 2, that each of them are 2 volumes,
Brand versus
it
Band.
would be 8. And then Band versus Brand, which is different from Inside Metal. That's a whole separate thing. But
Totally.
yeah.
Well,
I dig that municipal waste poster in the back there.
Oh yeah,
Andy.
that with Trump. That's the one. We don't build walls of death. We build fucking. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But then if you go this way, you can see my portrait up on.
you don't want to
Razor.
see.
Oh,
you don't want.
okay.
You don't want to see his portrait. You don't want to see him and the portrait. Just too much. Too much.
It's kind of weird
Pretty much.
because my stepmother do that, and it's
Wow.
uncanny how much
There
it
you
looks like
go.
him. But hey, that's gonna do it. We are. We're wrapped up pretty much.
Absolutely.
Bob, how you got anything else you want to put out right now, man?
Not really, man. Just appreciate
Skull
you guys.
Sessions, fucking
Shockwave Skull Sessions.
Bear Godfathers.
Bay Area Godfathers. You can check it out. metalrockfilms.com is a website, but I don't know if it's really been updated much. You can follow me on Facebook. We got the Inside Metal page on Facebook, and I believe Ace is doing had put up a Bay Area Godfathers.
Yeah.
I think that should be current. So I'm not a social media nut. I let the other guys kind of handle that end, but yeah, you can find us. Just Google it, Bay Area Godfathers.
Absolutely. And don't forget to look for an exclusive Poppets Corner episode with the great Bob Nalbandian.
Oh, yes. Can't wait for that. That was great.
Nice
was
3 hour talk. I'm sure it was.
Absolutely. That's what
Well,
we do.
yeah,
All right. Next week, I think we have Void Vader joining us, and then we got Tyrant coming up, and we got the Lords of Sin, which is that album is. I still can't believe it's the Violent Saint, guys. Anyway, it's good shit. And since we played Vain last, there's only one way to get rid of the taste of Vain out of your mouth.
Exodus?
Nah, we're actually gonna go even further than that. We're gonna play a little Cannibal Corpse with Murderous Rampage from their new record right now on
Razor Radio.
See ya.